Hi, and welcome to the second in our series of online Scottish music workshops to mark the 125th anniversary of the Glen Collection. I'm Ronnie Gibson, a scholar performer of Scots fiddle music based in Aberdeen, Scotland. We'll be live on YouTube at this time every Monday and Thursday throughout July and August, exploring some of the finest Scottish dance music as chosen by John Glen in his two tune books published in 1891 and 1895. You'll find more information and links to free sheet music downloads at glencollection125.wordpress.com, where, if wished, you can also make a contribution to my virtual tips jar via PayPal. And a big thank you to everyone who's contributed already. In this video, we'll workshop two sets, the 12th and 16th pairs of tunes as found in Glen's first book. Now you can use the chat bar during the live broadcast to make comments or ask questions, so do let us know you're there. Now let's start with set 12, which I'll play quickly to start. There you go, something like that. The first tune is Miss Grant of Grant. The second, the real, Miss Katty, Trotter. They're both in G major, and they're both by Robert McIntosh. So we'll begin with Miss Grant of Grant, and let's just start by giving it a quick sight read, nice and steady. Here we go. Something like ya da 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 dee da. Nice and steady. 2, 3, and 4. And again. There you go. Now, the straight slurs in the second bar are worth starting with. If you're on the fiddle, it just requires a break between two downs or two ups. So from bar 2, you're going down, down, up, up. But it's not a smooth slur. It's not down, up, down, down, up, up. Let's just try those 4 notes at the start of bar 2. 3 and 4. And again. Once more. So we're going dee, da 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 dee. Remember that there's a magnetism from the semiquaver to the dotted quaver. So there's a bit of a breath after the dotted quaver. Dum, da dee, da dum. Let's just try it once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now, in the first bar, the slur is critical because rather than being within a beat, a crotchet beat, it extends to the first quaver of the next beat. So the first bar there, those 5 notes are all in the down. and it serves to sort of to slightly blur the division of the meter, so that it's not so taba daba tum pum pum ya. And if you give it some shape, it's quite a gesture. Let's just try with the upbeat and those notes under the slur. Here we go. 3 and 4. Again, 3 and 4. Once more, 3 and 4. What I find myself doing in this particular group of 4 semiquavers is extending the second note. It's just because there's the string crossing from the G to the A, and if you extend the A, the second note, it just seems I found it easier. So just once more from the top. 3 and 4. And it's nice not to always be predictable. So here I am saying, don't play equal semiquavers, but instead you could just insert, make the first of the 4 a bit longer. So here we're not doing that. We're making the second note that bit longer. It just makes it slightly irregular, a bit more interest. Okay. Now, as a general point with Robert McIntosh, he's probably one of the, if not the most classically inspired fiddler composer, and his music wouldn't be out of place in classical chamber music. So it does require just a slightly different hat when it comes to the interpretation. It's all very particularly elegant and refined. Let's give it a run from the top again. Here we go. 3 and 4. And again. Now in the 4th bar there, the last bar of the line, we've got these 2 semis and a quaver on the first crotchet beat, and the 2 semis, as usual, are short. Let's try that, the last bar of the line, 3 and 4. Again, 3, 4. And again. Once more. And fiddles, you want to make sure that you're on the string for that, and you can get a bit of bite at the start. If you breathe as well, just when we're doing it on its own. It makes it a real gesture. It's not just a succession of notes. Now, going back to the 2nd bar, it could almost finish on that high G. So you want to just mark it slightly, but you go on. So it's a sort of like a diminuendo over the 2nd half of bar 2. And then I pick up into the 3rd bar. Yum, taddy, taddy. It's so affected. You can feel it. Tum, taddy, taddy. Oh. And then tea tum, and this is particularly playful. Tea tum, pa dum, pa back to the different registers, the voicing. Okay, let's try from the second bar. Bars 2 and 3. 3, 4. Now, looking to bar 3, the E on the second quaver, I'm playing it with a fourth finger. It avoids the string crossing, but it's a fairly barren fourth finger without any preparation, straight from the previous open A at the start of the bar. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but you can see what you think. Now let's just look at this third bar because it takes quite a bit of shaping with the upbeat. You pair the notes, ti dum ta ti, and then it's a bigger phrase, ti dum pa, and these two A's are really just a tie. Don't try and re-articulate them at the end of bar 3. That's a Macintosh-ism, if ever there was one. We come across that again in the reel when we get there. Anyway, upbeat to bar 3. Here we go. 3 and 4. Can be even more graceful. It's like these swallows and these little birds that you see at the moment on grasslands. We saw some in the park today, flying low and then going up and then sort of encircling you as you walk, but at a safe distance. It's just so playful and graceful. It's a bit like that. And then D into the sort of closing figure. Once more. Upbeat to bar 3. 3 and 4. Just once more for luck. Upbeat to bar 3 and 3 and 4. There we go. Yes, lovely. It's good. There's so much. Now, let's take a look at the second line, which is the second measure, and we'll just have a beat. Here we go. 1, 3 and 4. Last note, so nice, and that's where that's what I identify as one of the classical influences. A little gesture at the end. Okay, good. Now we've got the accidental D sharp in line 2, bar 2. It's the same in the next line. Just to get the third finger nice and high for that fiddles. Now, again, we've got a group of 4 semiquavers in line 2, bar 2. That's a more conventional, just hold the first note for a bit longer. Let's just try bar 2 with a nice shape to the semis. 3, 4. Again, 3, 4. And you can shape them however you like, however you feel they want to be shaped. It can be quite an individual aspect, but try to avoid playing them equally. That's all I'd say about that. Now, in bar 3, we have another one of these graceful swallows interludes. A couple of gestures with the upbeat to bar 3. This is line 2, bar 3. Dee da da dee da dee da. And these lower notes are like a tenor or something. dee ya da do ya dee da do. You've got to shape it. And then something to round it off, you know. Let's just try that. Upbeat to line 2, bar 3. After 4, 3, and 4. Let's see, the notes that you want to emphasize particularly are bar 3, note 3, the C, and then note 4, 5, 6, 7, the B. And if you just take a slight breath before those notes, that'll give it just a lovely shape. Let's give that a try. Upbeat to bar 3, we're in line 2, 3, and 4. These tunes don't need a lot of vibrato, but if you like, you can add a bit of vibrato on those, the C and the B. Something like that. Okay, once more. Line 2, bar 3, with the upbeat, 3 and 4. There we go. Now, if we go to the third line of Miss Grant of Grant, it's a strathspey, believe it or not. The third line. Let's just give that another play. Here we go. 3 and 4. There we go. There's quite a lot in here. In line 3, bar 2, the slur is important, again, because it goes between 2 beats. It just gives that sense of slight breathlessness. When you're bowing at fiddles, you just need to take that into consideration, and you don't want to emphasize the second beat in any way. Let's just try bar 2, line 3, bar 2, 3, 4. Once more, and. Last time, and. And of course, we've got that high third finger fiddles for the D sharp. So that's bar 2. Line 3, bar 3 is just a delight. We've got these staccati notes, the first of each 4, and you need to treat the other 3 notes in the group, the slurred quavers, as a sort of upbeat. So you feel them. Ti-tum, ta-dee-da-tum, pa-dee-da-tum, pa-dee-tum, pa-dee-da-tum, ta-dee-da-tum. That's the shape. Let's just give that a try. So this is line 3, bar 3 with the upbeat. 3 and 4. Once more, 3 and 4. It's getting the shortness of the staccato note. You can just stop the bow, you can lift it ever so slightly if you like. And you can't not broaden out just ever so much in those last 3 notes of the line in order to get the full effect of the bottom note, the bottom string. Good. Once more from upbeat to bar 3. Line 3, bar 3. Here we go. 3 and 4. There's even some voicing in that last bar. Tee ta tum, pa tee ta tum. These notes are quite disjointed. It's very inventive stuff. It's a particularly inventive strathspey, and a strathspey it is. Yet no Scotch snap in sight. And if you go to any modern definition, the strathspey is more or less defined by the Scotch snap. So there you go. It just depends. It's more about the meter, and if you could dance a strathspey to it, you can still play it like a strathspey. As we'll see when we have our playthrough. So that takes care of Miss Grant. Let's take a quick look at Miss Katty Trotter, which is the reel. If we have a read through at a nice steady tempo, Miss Katty Trotter, it's line 4 on the page. We're in set 12. Here we go. 3 and 4. And again. He likes his octave G's at the end there of the line. High G to the sort of middle G. Now, in point of technicality, in line 2, towards the end of, in bar 2, towards the end of the bar, there are 2 A's. Now, there's some contention as to whether you could just write it with a crotchet. That's to say, you don't need to re-articulate the note, or if it is intended to be 2 A's in the one bow and you stick an ornament in the middle. When you're going at the full pelt of a reel, it's really too fine a detail to lose any sleep about. But I'm sort of coming round to the idea that you could just write it as a crotchet. Why didn't? It maybe looks neater. Written as 2 quavers. Let's just try Miss Katty Trotter, first line, second bar. Ready, 3 and 4. And you see the staccato on the 5th note of the bar, just lighten up. Tee da 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 pa. And what it forces you to do is to put the emphasis on the offbeat, on the second quaver of that group. And the fact that we're treating it as a crotchet just adds more weight. Good. Now, it's nice just to pick out the contours of the melody, and you can do that in the 3rd bar. You just group them. Ta da pa da da pa dee da 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 dum. You just need some light and shade. It's the first 3, and then the last of that first group of 4, and the next 3. Tee da dum, pum pa da dum, pa dee da 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 dum, and that's fairly boilerplate cadence. Let's just go from bar 3 then. Here we go. 3 and 4. That's it. Dee da da ba dee da ba dee da 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 pop pop. Okay, once more. 3 and 4. Good. Final time. 3 and 4. And you have to be very emphatic about that last bar. It's a cadence. There's no 2 ways about it. And really relish that octave leap. It's good. Okay, that takes care of the first measure. If we go on to the second line, let's just have a read of the second measure. So from Miss Katty Trotter, line 2, 3 and 4. There you go. Couple of things to note. In line 2, bar 2, we've got another one of these repeated A's, and the staccato, it's exactly the same effect. Now, before we try it, just one other point about this bar. You want to pair the quavers on the first 2 beats. It's a sort of hack bowing. Down, up, dum, pa, and then it's off. So pair those quavers rather than grouping them in 4. On the fiddle, you're going down, down. Nice strong downs. Here we go. Bar 2, line 2, bar 2, Miss Katty Trotter, 3 and 4. And then another quick couple of semis at the start of bar 3. Let's just try again. The bar 2, 3 and 4. You need to be ready for that staccato A. If you can stay in the upper half of the bow fiddles, it'll help. Once more, bar 2, 3, 4. And if you spot in bar 3 a dotted rhythm, again, you go to your modern definition of a reel, and it should be all equal quavers. It's a small digression, one dotted quaver. Now, good. Let's just take a wee look at the last line from bar 3. In bar 3 of the last line, you want to pair all the quavers. All the way to the end. Let's just try that. Last line, bar 3, and it's down, 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 down. If you manage to saw your fiddle in 2, you've made Robert McIntosh happy. Okay, here we go. Last line, bar 3, 3 and 4. If you get that little double stop at the end, all's the better. Once more, 3 and 4. Good. Okay, that's splendid. Yes, well, that's worked out nicely time-wise. Let's give them a run. We'll take them first time at a steady tempo, and then at second time just a bit quicker. So, okay, here we go. And then we get those are the sort of tempos. Here we go. 3, 3 and 4. go. Okay, now again, bit quicker, huh? Let's see how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. It's almost a shame to play them at full speed, because it becomes so hard to keep all the detail that we work hard to add in. But there you go. That's Robert McIntosh for you. Plenty more where that came from, I can tell you. But there's so much in it. It's great. Before we move on to the next set, let's just see who's shouting out on the chat. Jane, hi Jane. Jane's on the cello this time round, which is wonderful. Anne on the flute. Margaret, hello. Donald, accordion. Francois, it's good to have you. Leslie, Sarah, and Maura, great. Oh, well, we're among friends. It's lovely to have you. Thanks for taking part. Do remember you can chip in with any comments or questions. And you just put that you're still struggling with the real speed. You get there. It's a tricky thing. It's not so much a technical thing. In my experience, it's more just getting your head wrapped around it. You'll get there. Keep at it. So that's set 12. Set 16 then, and we arrive in the murky waters of C major. There isn't all that much in the Scottish dance repertoire in C major, but it's interesting. It's curious, actually. Speaking from a sort of fiddle perspective, just how each key brings its own character to the tune. Even Marshall wrote a lot of tunes in B flat with the instruction that they should be played in A when danced. I think A major was a brighter key that fitted dancing more, but the character is just completely different in B flat. You've got to play a bit slower. You can enjoy it a bit more. Jane was trying to play treble clef. Did you? I hope you got the parts I sent you, Jane. Anyway, let's move on to these C major tunes. Maclachlan's Reel and Lady Betty Wemyss. Maclachlan's Reel is from the first book of Strathspeys, published by a fiddler or a musician from Strathspey. They're from Angus Cummings' collection. He was a musician in Grantown upon Spey, and he published his collection in about 1780. Good. I just see Maris. Would the tempo be fairly quick or not so much? In the Macintosh, I can't decide. It works nicely as a slow Strathspey, but I think it has a different character sped up. Let's start with Maclachlan's Reel, and despite being called a reel, it's a Strathspey. Okay, nice and steady. Yum, ba da da, da dum. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again. There you go. Now, let's just start at the beginning. You want to really kick the third note. It's a semiquaver G, and it's very easy just to trip over it because it's preceded by a short note and it's followed by a long note. But you really do, to get the shape of the tune, tum ta ta da, tum ta ta da, tum ta ta da. Let's try that. Those 4 notes. 3, 4. And again. Once more. And. Got it? Good. Followed in quick succession by a burl. And remember, you can easily make these burls crotchets, and the audience will be none the wiser. But for the burl on the fiddle, you want to try and stay near the tip, which means that this 4th note of the bar needs to be quite a slow bow, so you don't travel too far down. You're having to do the burl down here. If you tram, pa-ta-da, tra, tum, stay in the upper half, and that'll be better. Let's try the first bar. 3, 4. Again, and. Once more, and. That's the idea. Trum, pa-da-da, tra, tum. And then a nice singing bar. Now that's, to my ear, that's where the phrase ends. And then the next note is the upbeat to the 3rd bar. Let's just try the 2nd bar without the last note. 3, 4. Nice straight slurs. It gives it that strident. Down, down, up, down. 2nd bar. 3, 4. Once more, and. Let's try going from the beginning up to there. 3, 4. Once more, and. That burl is pesky to fit in last time. And. And then let's just look at this 3rd bar to begin with. This is a case, I think, where the 2 G's do require a little ornament in the middle. It's a little turn. Let's just try it slowly. Yum, ba-da-dee-dee-dee. And. Once more. And a bit quicker. That's the idea. Remember that the ornaments are more textural than pitch specific. With the upbeat. And so with the upbeat to bar 3, 3, 2, 3. And there's so much space in this upbeat. A full crotchet. 2, 3. And then off again. Let's try from the upbeat to bar 3 to the end. 3, 2, 3. Okay, let's give the whole first measure a test drive then. 3, 4. And again. Very good. It's charming. Let's go from line 2, which is the start of the second measure. Here we go. 3, 4. So the last couple of bars of the measure are the same as the first measure, including the upbeat. So we covered that. There's just the rest of it. Let's go back to line 2, and it starts with another group of 4 semis. So you know what to do. Let's just try the first 7 notes. 2, 3, 4. And kind of gestural, like some sort of French Baroque gesture for some fantastical opera. And once more, you just fire off the fingers. Ti-dri-yum, 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 ti-dri-yum. Let's just try that. 3, 4. As long as you have the down starting on the G and the up starting on the C, the middle doesn't matter. It's very forthright, martiale almost, a martial militancy to it. From the start of line 2, we'll go on. 3, 4. Ti ta-tam ta-ti. It's expressive. Bar 2 of line 2. Tam ta-ti ta-tam. And. The trick is to make the dotted quavers longer and the semis shorter. Three, 4. Let's just try it slowly once and then speed it up again. So we're going down, down, up, down, and. This is line 2, bar 2 of set 16. Once more, and. Now with some rigor, and that low E is to be relished. Once more, 3, 4. And then we go on. It's just a sort of a noodly little line to the cadence at the end of the line. Upbeat to line 2, bar 3, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Tell you what, let's just try this little section once. It's equal quavers. Here we go. Start and just slur them conventionally. Starting an upbeat to bar 3, line 2, bar 3, 1, 2, 3. Once more, 2, 3. That's the idea. Now back to the rhythm as printed and the bowing. Nice and steady, something like. And again, remember that the short note acts as an upbeat rather than being paired to the note that it's grouped with in the beaming. Here we go. On the upbeat to bar 3, 1, 2, 3. Once more, 2, 3. Back to familiar territory. Let's look at the third line. We continue with these runs of dotted rhythms. And then some fresh air in the second bar of line 3, equal quavers. And again, these need to be broad. Tum, ta-dee, 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 ta-tum. Let's just look at the first bar of line 3. Here we go, 3, 4. Now let's do as we did before. Equal quavers, conventional slurs. 3, 4. Now, nice and slow, but as printed. T, ta-ti, 3, and 4. And again. Once more. Good. Now up to tempo with the next bar. Nice and broad. 3, 4. Even broader. And once more. You want to use as much flow as you can on these quavers, even though they're short notes. From the start of the line, Maclachlan's reel, line 3, 3, 4. There. Okay, that's the Strathspey, Maclachlan's reel, or Maclachlan. Maclachlan's reel. Probably Maclachlan. Lady Betty Wemyss is the reel. It's from the Glen Collection, which is among the earliest. Let's give it a read. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you've got two ways of playing this. You can play it with a conventional emphasis on beats 1 and 3, crotches 1 and 3. Ti-da-dum, ti-da-dum, yabba-dabba-dum, bum-ba-da-dum. Or you can give crotches 2 and 4 a bit of a kick. My preference, for what it's worth, is to emphasize the crotchets. So crotchets 2 and 4, which means those high Cs. Let's just try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's that. Now these semis, you can get away in reels playing them equally just because of the tempos that are ultimately involved. You'd be hard stretched to say whether or not I dotted them or played them equally. So playing equal is fine. Now, let's just try it once more. Very steady, because I feel I might be rushing. Lady Betty Wemyss from the top. 3 and 4. That's the idea. And puddles can be made into crotchets, if wished. Now, second measure, line 2 of Lady Betty Wemyss. 3 and 4. There you go. The bowing's particular. You see in line 2, the first full bar, first 2 notes are slurred, the last 2 notes are slurred. Let's just try that with the upbeat. 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. So you're going up, down, up, down, up, down, up. If it helps, you can play, and I'll say out the bowing after 4, 2, 3, and 4. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Once more, 3 and 4. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 2. I'll play this time. 2, 3, and 4. There we go. And in the third bar, and then at the start of the next line, it's the same bowing and it's the same notes. Another thing worth pointing out is the double second finger, where in the first bar, the second note's a G, which is second finger on the E string on the fiddle, and the third note is a C, which is a second finger on the A. So it just requires a bit of dancing and keeping the finger over both strings. If you can imagine an imaginary fifth string between the A and the E, that's where your finger wants to, the second finger wants to gravitate. Let's just try it from the start of line 2. Lady Betty Wemyss, line 2, 3, and 4. We get to line 3, the bottom line on the page. Bar 3, you want to pair these quavers again. let's go. It's the last 2 bars of the tune. Pair the quavers. Down, down, up, 3, 4. It's not so essential in the last bar. Let's just try it once more. Last 2 bars. So it's line 3, bar 3, pair the quavers. 2, 3, 4. Once more, and there you go. That's the C major set for our sins. It's fine. It grows on you. It's very fine tunes. Maclachlan's, Real, and Lady Betty Wemyss. Okay, let's give it a run through at a steady tempo, and then we'll play it more up to speed afterwards. Yum, dum. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well done. It's hard to keep these reels back, isn't it? If it's worth, I should have pointed out the transition in Lady Betty Wemyss from the first measure to the second measure requires a big jump because you're on a low C at the end of the first measure, and then you need to be on a high G at the start of the second. So just bear that in mind for this, the quicker version. Here we go. Something like that, anyway. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that, anyway. Good. That's about that. I see from the comments that Jane was just using the wrong copy. Better now, thank goodness. Yes, it's challenging enough without having to transpose onto the bass clef. Anyway, that's another 2 sets, 2 down. How many to go? Goodness, another 34 to go, and that'll be our survey of the Glen Collection. Anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for taking part, and remember you can rewatch at any time using the same link or by searching on YouTube. Next live broadcast will be Thursday, when we'll be continuing our exploration of the Glen Collection. In the meantime, take care and keep playing. Thanks everyone. Bye.